All right, well, welcome back. Here we are, kind of trucking right along towards a finish on the pre-assembly procedures. So what we're going to do today, we're going to do step 29 and 30 in the book, which 29 is valve train checks, which involves installing checker springs on heads, at least for the first cylinder. And then we're going to install the cylinder head on the block and do valve train checks, which basically involves checking push rod lengths and various valve train components. So follow along. Here we go. Okay, so in this step, we're going to remove these valve springs. Although, one thing that caught my eye, and I have to mention it here because it's slightly concerning, is that on one head, it says 799, and on the other head, it says 234. Now, I know that 799 and 234 are identical, but I didn't think they mix and matched. So I'm slightly concerned about that. I'm going to have to look on my Suburban that has the existing engine already on it and find out what the deal is, whether it has 799 on one and 234 on the other. So you see here 799. See that? And the other head, right there, says 234 on it. Notice that? See how they're different? I thought they came in pairs. 234 and 234. Either or. All right, so I have done some research, and from what I could tell, not very many people do this, but the 243 and the 799 heads can be used together. And just again to reiterate where I just left off, I just now discovered that one of my heads, now remember I had the heads redone, big thanks to Mike, and he did a wonderful job. But one thing I just discovered now was that one of them is a 799 head. You see that right there where it's stamped 799? All right. And then the other one, which I haven't taken out of the container yet, is a 243, right? But they're identical. And from everything, now when I first noticed that, I was like, oh crap, I'm doing all these checks. So then I'd have to check both, uniformity is something that I'm looking for, right? But so obviously that would concern me. So I did a ton of research, and turns out with 799 and 243 heads are, from all the research I did, now I'm not an expert and I can't obviously guarantee this 100%, but from what I could tell, they are identical. The only difference is how they're cast and their smoothness, okay? So, I went back, I looked at the video from when I tore the engine down, and sure enough, that's how this engine came. They came with a 243 on bank 2 and 799 on bank 1. And this is bank 1, this is the driver's side head. So I'm going to go ahead and proceed with my pre-assembly checks. I've got a couple other questions out to various places to find out if it's okay. Ideally, they would be identical. But from everything I've read, it's okay that I can go ahead and use them in this mismatch state. That shouldn't cause any issues. All right. So, my viewers, I'm just curious. Is this something that would cause you concern? And would you go ahead and use it like this with $7.99 on driver's side and $2.43 head on the other? Let me know what you think. Put a note down in the comments down below the video. I think my gut tells me it's going to be okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and proceed. But I don't know. Just let me know what you think if you have any other difference of opinion. All right. $2.43 versus $7.99. That's the situation. I've got one of each. All right. Just curious what you would do. All right. So let's go ahead and push on. So what I'm doing here is I'm removing the springs, and these are heavy duty springs. I mean, these are just, these are strong springs. I'm going to remove them from cylinder number 1, and I'm going to put in these so-called checker springs. Okay, so I'm just doing some research here to figure out how on earth this little tool goes on. I think it kind of sets on there just like that. And then this guy goes on top of it. And then, what am I forgetting here? I think I need to put this in here, like so. And it needs oiled. Just going to hand tight it. I'm not going to go crazy on this. And then this goes over the valves. Oh, by the way, I picked this little gizmo tool up from on Amazon. Like everything else. And crank it down, that should push the springs. Let me get a magnet. Okay, now we're gonna let up on the Okay, feel how easy that is? It came out real easy. All right, now we're going to put the checker springs in. All right, 2 checker springs. All right, so now we're going to go the other way. All right, so it took a little finagling, but I got the checker springs in there. All right. I don't know why this was such a pain, but I got it in there, and so it's in there. So so we're going to go ahead and remove the rest of this. Because that is step number 29 in the book. So only 6 more steps to go, and then I'm done with pre-assembly. Now, I may be half tempted to do these valve train checks on the other side too, and not just one. Normally we just do this on, essentially the whole point of this exercise in replacing these springs with checker springs is it so that we can test the check for the rod length and the rocker arms and some other stuff. And normally you would just do it on one cylinder and assume that all the others are okay if this one was good. However, since I have 2 different heads, 2 different identical heads, if that makes sense. One's 799, one's 243. I'm half tempted to do this procedure on cylinder number 2 on the 243 head as well, but we'll see. All right, so let's get our stuff here together, clean up a little bit, and we will move on to the next step here.